right, we are talking about the Dallas Mavericks today. Let's get into it. So, I have the Dallas Mavericks at number 5 in the standings in the NBA and the Western Conference. I'm going to break down a little bit more here for you guys. First of all, thank you for clicking on the video. If you want to check out other videos of mine, you can. I got other videos for season previews for other teams in the NBA. Right now, we're going in reverse order of where I think the standings are, and we're about all the way there. Right now, we're at the 5th seed for both teams. I'll also be talking about the 4 seeds for both conferences within the next little bit. But all other teams are done, and then we're going to start talking about home court advantage teams. So feel free to check out other videos, subscribe to the channel, like the video, all that fun stuff. Let's just jump into the Dallas Mavericks and talk about them. And let's start us off here by talking about what they did in the offseason. So the Mavericks in the offseason were a little bit restricted on what they could do. And once we get to these, really good teams in the East and the West, they're not as flexible with their money situation and who they can add and all these different things as other teams may be. But the Mavericks still, I think, made out of the offseason pretty well. What happened is that they were able to bring in Sterling Brown, Reggie Bullock, who I really like for the team. And Reggie Bullock, I think he adds a little bit of defense. He adds some shooting, he adds some veteran leadership. Good stuff there. They had a project with Frank Ntilikina, and then they also traded for Moses Brown from the Celtics, who was acquired from that Celtics Thunder trade. They had also lost Josh Richardson, and then they lost JJ Redick, who retired. Redick wasn't really a huge part of the team last year. He was, I believe it was with the Pelicans that he was with, and then he was traded to Dallas and very, very rarely played, if ever. I can't even remember him playing in the playoffs at all. So they didn't lose anything huge. So I think overall, their offseason probably gets a B+ from me. Again, you're not losing anything huge, but you're also not gaining a whole lot as well. And we did see some teams that were a little strapped with their financial flexibility still be able to make moves. Dallas didn't. So I will kind of penalize them there, but overall, a pretty good season. Whoops, I am not knowing what I'm doing here. Let's move on and talk about the off-season let's talk about the salary cap season here for the Mavericks. Right now, they're paying Kristaps Porzingis a lot of money. He's getting paid about $60 million over the next 2 years, and I mean combined total over the next 2 years. They did re-sign Tim Hardaway. The Tim Hardaway contract, I think, it's a hard thing for me to swallow if I'm a Mavericks fan, because obviously the team loves their offense. They're one of the better offensive teams in the NBA, and they will probably be the same this year. But I do worry about paying Tim Hardaway that amount of money. Here's the good thing. If you're watching on YouTube, his money goes from 21 down to 19, down to 17, down to 16 over the next few years. So it's a front-loaded deal where they're paying him up front and then lessening that money as it goes on, which I think is smart. You keep the player you want. I just still worry a little bit about that number, but at the end of the day, I do like how they had it front built and move forward that direction. Dwight Powell, $11 million, nothing crazy there. Luka is the last year of his rookie deal. We had just recently talked about Trae Young in the last year of his rookie deal. This team is built very conservatively on the cap sheet wise, because we saw with Atlanta, they have Capella, they have John Collins, they overpaid for Danilo Gallinari, and they could do that so they could have Trae Young, have all these veterans and all this talent around him, and not really pay any big consequences because their best player is still on their rookie deal. I don't feel like Dallas has done that at all. You really just look at Tim Hardaway, Kristaps Porzingis are the two dudes that you're kind of building around Luka with. I don't understand that. I don't understand the lack of aggression for the team. Now, if there's an opposing team and Dallas says, "Hey, we're trying to get Porzingis out of here," I, as a team, is kind of hesitate with saying, "I don't want to take Porzingis," right? So I understand that, and I also understand that they don't have a whole lot of assets to build off of. to make any kind of potential deal work. But there still is hesitancy from me as far as like, do they have enough team build to compete for championships? I am talking right now that they're going to be the 5th seed in the West, which I believe in. I think it's really good for them. I don't believe in Jason Kidd. I don't believe in the roster built. As we can look at the cap sheet right now, there's just not too much there, and it really just hinges on Luka like 1,000%. And if Luka were to miss any games, Dallas immediately becomes an underdog in most of their games. Like, let's be honest, if Luka's not playing, you hope it doesn't happen. But if Luka doesn't play games, like, for any reason, injury, whatever, they're not going to be favored in many games. So I still worry about that, when it comes to Dallas. I am not clicking good here today. Other than that, like, I don't think a Porzingis deal will happen. I don't think they're going to move off of anybody significant. Like, I don't know what Maxi Kleber and Dorian Finney-Smith can net you on the open market, on the trade market. Like, to me, I just think they're set with as who they are. And I think we know who they are. They're a really good offensive team, but they do struggle defensively a little bit. And I will also mention that they probably don't have the defensive personnel to be able to knock off a big dog in the West, like Utah, like Phoenix, like the Lakers even. I don't know. Let's talk about their rotation here. I have gotten this from Hoops Hype. Let's talk about Luka in the starting 5, obviously, along with Tim Hardaway, Dorian Finney-Smith, Kristaps Porzingis, Dwight Powell. So they're moving Porzingis back to the 4, which is really interesting. And I also think it's really important for his progression and for him to kind of bounce back. I ultimately really hope, I think the whole NBA, I think Luka kind of hopes that Porzingis is back to being who he should be. We saw him in New York. If you go look at his last year in New York, his last, like, the year he tore his ACL in New York, you go look at that season for him. He was amazing. The complete unicorn, right? Shooting threes, being athletic, going and dunking, playing in transition. Like, he was doing it all. He's not been that since. And I wonder if moving him to the 4 is going to be something that can maybe benefit him a little bit, maybe allow him to play on the perimeter as much. More up to what he wants to play. So it'll be interesting. I think they should also probably try to give him possessions sometimes and not have it all be a Luka-oriented offense. And we'll see, because again, we know what Porzingis is a little bit. He's just been inconsistent and hasn't been healthy sometimes, and it's a tough situation there in Dallas. Let's talk about the reserves. Nothing too crazy. I do really like Jalen Brunson. Trey Burke is... I can't really get too excited about Trey Burke. Bullock was a really good pickup. I do like what Kleber can provide. And then Boban and Willie Cauley-Stein are also in the front court center rotation as well. So, again, a lot of good players that I think fit well on the offensive side of the ball with Luka. Dorian Finney-Smith and, Kleber and Hardaway aren't guys necessarily you're going to have to worry about, they need to get their shots during the game, right? Like Dwight Powell, we need to get Dwight shots. No, it's Luka and it's Porzingis, and it's more so Luka. So with that being said, if anything were to happen to Luka, or if Luka's having an off game, like, it just makes it hard for me to believe in the team long term. Now, regular season wise, yeah, I think they're going to be competing for home court advantage, but I don't see the ultimate jump that they're going to make. And let's transition here real quick to their Vegas number, which is 48.5. We had just talked about Atlanta today, and they were set at 47.5. I am going to take the under here, but let me pull up what I have on the Mavericks here, because I think that's right. So it's at 48.5. I will give the over, actually. I'm going to call an audible and say an over. I put them at 49, maybe 50, 51 wins. Again, I do worry a little bit about the defense, but I'll tell you my biggest worry. I think that Jason Kidd is not the right head coach for the team. I really hope that he's learned some things coaching-wise when he was on the Lakers staff in LA. And if there's a little bit more defense that they can provide here, in Dallas, and Kidd can maybe pull out of these players to play a little bit more defense, then maybe I'm a little higher on him. But for now, I don't believe in Jason Kidd. I don't believe in just having Luka be the only guy in Dallas. I know they work really well, and I know Luka is a great player. I am just buying low on this team right now. I will take the over on the win total. However, I do have them as the 5th seed in the Western Conference. Come at me in the comments. Is Luka like the next MJ? Is Luka supposed to be the next face of the league? I can kind of go either way on that. But feel free to comment on the video, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We're doing 2 more today. We're talking about the 4 seeds in the Eastern and Western Conference. So join us, and we'll see you in the next one.